The evening of December 19th, 2013, in Block Island, Rhode Island, went on like any other. John Chocolos climbed to the passenger seat of a Nissan Titan, driven by his 22-year-old grandson, Nathan Carman. It had just recently snowed, and as the temperature dropped, the wind started to pick up. The drive home was fairly quiet between the two. A radio talk show played in the background, and Nathan and John were having a conversation. They pulled into the driveway of their family home on Overlook Drive at 8:30 p.m. Nathan led his grandfather inside. They continued their conversation from the car ride, before being interrupted by John's cell phone ringing. A call went to voicemail. It was his girlfriend. At 8:36 p.m., John's girlfriend called back. So because of this, Nathan was going to leave the home, cutting the conversation with his grandpa short. On the phone, John is heard saying, "Nathan's just leaving. Give me a minute. I want to say goodbye to my grandson." Nathan left through the front door, and John returned to his girlfriend. He went to bed around 10 p.m. A car pulled up to the house at 8:15 a.m. the next morning. It was John's eldest daughter, Elaine. Elaine was a registered nurse and routinely went over to check on her father to make sure he was taking medication for his heart. She stepped inside the house and was greeted by pure silence. This set off alarm bells for Elaine, because John was a World War II veteran and an early riser. She would normally smell the coffee brewing and the sight of her dad at his desk, still working despite his age. Elaine slowly searched through the house, fearing the worst. His office was empty, nobody was in the bathroom, and she slowly opened the door to John's bedroom, and only a small beam of light shone through his curtains, illuminating John, lying motionless on his bed, covered in blood. Elaine dialed 911 at 8:23 a.m. CSI and police officers arrived to find most of the house untouched, as Elaine had noted. This detail indicates that this was not a robbery gone wrong, because John Chocolos was not just a partially blind grandpa with a heart condition. John was actually a millionaire, a real estate developer most known for building and owning many care facilities and nursing homes all throughout New England, shoveling tens of millions of dollars to provide for his family. He was so rich, in fact, he had an entire second mansion in New Hampshire.
John Chocolos was murdered in his Connecticut home in 2013, 1 month after his wife died from cancer. His killer was never found. Nathan Carman's aunts have filed a petition to block Carman from inheriting millions of dollars.
Investigating the body, and I am sparing the very graphic details, he was found with multiple gunshot wounds to his stomach and head. Detectives determined the assailant was standing at the foot of his bed and fired the shots into John. They concluded that the murder weapon was most likely a Sig Sauer rifle. Nathan Carman was born on January 21st, 1994 in Middletown, Connecticut. He was the only child of Linda and Clark Carman, and he was diagnosed with autism when he was very young. I couldn't find much else about his childhood, but he did have a very intense and complicated relationship with his mother. She was constantly trying different ways to intervene with Nathan's autism. So, eventually, police obtained a search warrant for Nathan's apartment and Nissan Titan in July of 2014. The warrant was for a search and seizure of firearms for a person posing risk to self or others. There were a plethora of reasons listed on the warrant. One of them was that Nathan got rid of the hard drive on his computer and the GPS unit used on December 20th, 2013. They also discovered he recently purchased a rifle identical to the murder weapon. Police entered his apartment on July 18th. They found a pellet gun, boxes of ammunition, a rifle scope, and a Remington tactical shotgun. They did not find the rifle he had bought.
This is blood money. The sisters don't want it, but they don't want Nathan to have it.
Nathan Carman isn't charged with any crimes, but his 3 aunts believe he shot and killed his grandfather and is responsible for his mother's disappearance at sea. Carman has invoked the Fifth Amendment, refusing to answer questions about firearms he may own.
And if we're trying 2 murder cases, if we're saying that the issues at trial are not just did Nathan kill his grandfather or did he not, but also did Nathan kill his mother or did he not, do we not first need to figure out legally whether or not my mom is considered to be deceased?
Investigators in Connecticut say that Nathan purchased a 6-hour semi-automatic from a New Hampshire gun store in 2013, but Nathan has refused to answer questions about it. Attorneys want to compel him to hand over receipts and documents that might lead to the weapon.
I feel that for reasons unrelated to the allegations that I murdered my grandfather, it is prudent for me to plead the Fifth relating to questions about firearms.
Nathan Carman raised the ire of the family's attorney by suggesting his aunts had substantial motive to kill John Shakalis.